Hello everyone, here I am back with another video. Sorry that I've taken so long to put up another upload. It's just that I've been caught up with school work. Um, I'm working on this one last essay assignment for this term, and in fact for my undergrad altogether. And once I have that out of the way, I can probably dedicate more time into this project of mine. But other than that, as you can see, perhaps another reason that I was avoiding being on camera is because of what's on my face. But now, whatever. Because of how exciting this news is for me, maybe I'll just go ahead and confront my hesitation or anxiety, or however you want to put it. For me, this is by far the best news of this year 2020, because it really is, apart from all the medicinal or spiritual aspects of what the plant may entail. It's really a matter of freedom first and foremost. It's about some adults getting out of the way of how other adults want to engage in their own time. Now, of course, with the law only having to ensure that they do not inflict harm upon others while practicing their freedom and the way they prefer. All right, now let me go ahead and share my screen. Oregon, the state of Oregon, becomes the first state in the country, in the U.S., to legalize psilocybin, or magic mushrooms. Now, I think this is a historical moment for the country, or even for the world. One of the articles I was reading through, they referred to as the beginning of the psychedelic renaissance. And that's an interesting way to put it, actually. And I first heard about this when I was watching Joe Rogan. This particular episode, which I recommend you all to check it out, 1562, when he hosted Dave Smith. But I really like this system that got set up in the U.S. Called the, I don't know if it was the state ballot initiative or the direct ballot initiative. Regardless, it's just sort of a referendum on a policy that they vote on, along with the candidates they're going to be choosing for the House, the Senate, or the presidency. I wish we had that over here in Canada, because oftentimes, if you're going to be just voting for a candidate or a party, it's sort of like what's known as omnibus bills. When these bills are make their way up through Congress to the president's desk, and it's sort of stacked or just stuffed with a bunch of stuff, some of which the president may agree with, and a whole lot he may not agree with. But he's sort of got to engage in his own marginal analysis, as to say, in order to proceed or veto the bill. But as citizens in a democracy, as voters in a democracy, we're basically doing the same thing. When these parties are put up their candidates to us, how about if we only like one policy of this party and two policies of that party, but yet if we wish for those policies at all and having a possibility in actually coming into effect, then we got to admit to all the rest of the shit that the party is advocating to do. So that part of it I don't like. But yes, I do truly think this is by far the best news out of 2020. And because this is really a matter of freedom. So, I mean, all libertarians, with of course, it's not going to be the most ideal free market system. There's going to be restriction when it comes to licenses and who can practice the actual production and distribution of these services in the therapeutic use of these mushrooms. But regardless, the citizen or the individual now has the freedom, and he doesn't have to fear being fear the authorities and being able to practice his freedom in this particular way. And now, even though not all libertarians may be psychonauts, which I happen to be both a libertarian and a psychonaut, but you still have to consistently support freedom for everybody. And if you don't, then you're perhaps lacking in your grasp of libertarian principles. So just because you don't like to ingest mushrooms does not mean that another person should also be forbidden because of your own personal preferences, as long as they do not inflict harm on others. That's obviously the limit. Now, the significance of this, I want to recall an example of earlier event that occurred in this past decade, and that was the legalization of cannabis, recreational use of cannabis in the state of Colorado. Now, that was in 2012. Now, let's ignore for now the actual year, which I guess happened nearly 2 years later, where it became available to the people. But 2012, cannabis was legalized in Colorado, and for me, I perceive that as being the first domino. And as a result of this precedent that they've set, a whole bunch of other dominoes fell afterwards. And a major example being us here in Canada. Now, again, there's a distinction between the date that the bill comes to pass and when the bill comes to effect. So let's say if it was in Colorado 2012, in Canada it was in 2017 when it passed the House of Commons. So that is 5 years later. Was that in November? Yeah, November 6th, 27th November. Okay, so yes, 5 years later. So now with Oregon setting the precedent, apart from legalizing the services and mushrooms, they also decriminalize all drugs, which basically means that a small possession would not be a big issue. It may be a small fine, like maybe a speeding ticket, but it won't be something it won't be something that the law will come down on you for and have you imprisoned or nothing like that. So perhaps if 2020 is the year for the initial precedent to finally have been set down with magic mushrooms, then perhaps 2025 or sometimes in the middle of this decade, we can expect other jurisdictions to follow suit. And indeed, as some have pointed out in the past, that perhaps marijuana was, or cannabis was, a gateway drug. That is, gateway drug in terms of policy. Because of course, a lot of cannabis users do not go beyond cannabis at all. They just perhaps use it a couple of times and never do it again, or just stick to it and don't experiment and nothing else. So in other news, there were a couple of other states that legalized the recreational use of marijuana for the first time. And this includes Arizona, a red state, New Jersey, Montana, and South Dakota. And then also Mississippi legalized it for medicinal purposes. That's like the half a step before the recreational use, perhaps. And that's exciting news, all of it. And now this is how the map of the U.S. looks like in terms of how the issue of the legality of cannabis is concerned. So all the states in blue are where cannabis is legally permitted to be distributed and used. And you can see the entire West Coast, including Alaska, which I didn't know about. It's been made legal there, and slowly starting to show up in the East and in the Midwest, I guess they call it. And hopefully, it extends to other states. I mean, they say, for example, Texas is all about freedom. Well, come on. When it concerns cannabis, when it concerns an individual use of an individual's use of their time and the way they prefer, now let's say if they happen to be also pro-guns, then why disallow them from being able to be able to utilize their freedom in the way they prefer? So anyways, that was basically what I wanted to present to you in this short video. Hopefully that all went through all right, the audio, the video, and everything like that. Yeah, regarding this channel, I guess I'm nearly at 40 uploads now, and I mean it's a challenge of its own, because obviously if I was to put no effort into it, I mean I prefer not doing this at all, right? So I really have to go out of my way to try and think of ideas that I can put together, a slideshow I can put together, or people on social media that I can message, and then to invite them to come on and stuff like that. I mean, it does require effort, and I'm not sure if it has necessarily paid off yet, and of course this is too early to say. But if I could get to 100 uploads, I think I could start to see if it's bearing any fruit. We have got to 45 subscribers, and if people are at least willing to entertain some of the ideas presented in the videos, then we're somewhat in the ballpark of at least virtually encountering individuals that are like-minded. Well, anyways, I don't want to make this too lengthy. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found this news event as newsworthy as I did, and hopefully we can see this freedom of the individual being extended into other jurisdictions of the continent and the world. All right, bye for now, guys.